once again to the Friday Beer Break. I'm joined by Chris Schreier from TorontoBeerBlog.com. We've got our sponsor, Beer Market, live music Thursday through to Saturday, 9 p.m. onward, and the Rock and Roll Brunch on Sundays. And today, we've got Hop Circle IPA.
This is a beautiful beer.
It is a great beer.
It's another West Coast IPA. I realized that. We went West Coast IPA, old school. We're doing West Coast IPA, and I think we're doing an old school Belgian again next week. So.
Wow, it's like there's some sort of pattern forming.
My God, of course, it's obvious.
My 4-year-old, 5-year-old son would be thrilled with that.
Yeah, because this
Daddy,
is what
a
they
pattern.
teach you in shows. Like, they teach you the patterns, and then you learn. That's how you learn. This
is-
break is educational.
If I wanted to learn something, I wouldn't have come to community college.
Like I always say, I'm here for the kids, guys. I'm here for the kids.
Perfect thing to say when serving alcohol.
So anyway, getting on this, Phillips is from BC. They're a bigger microbrewery, if that makes sense. They're a bigger craft brewery. They'd be a bit like Mill Street is here.
Yeah.
Right. A good brewery that makes a ton of cool beer, but they're definitely on the bigger side of things.
And what makes you think I'd like that?
Whereas some of the breweries we do sometimes have like one person. They're a bigger organization, but they, as so many beers from the West Coast, it took them a while to get into Ontario.
All good things to those who wait.
Because it seems like all these breweries that are like the Mill Streets from around the country, the first thing we get from them is their IPA.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think because the stuff that comes into the LCBO comes in for the specialty kind of releases or the craft releases, and within sort of the craft circles, people have a tendency to go for the hoppier stuff. So that's the first thing we generally see. Anyway, so let's drink this lovely beer. So Phillips Hop Circle IPA.
Really citrusy.
Going to be a classic West Coast IPA. That's what they were aiming for. And clever, right? Hop Circle. You can see they've got the little crop circle, hop circle.
Very well done.
Honey.
Let's kick some ice.
Lots of puns. When the beer aliens come, they're gonna love this beer.
God bless those beer aliens. It's not crazy hoppy bitter, but it's quite a bitter beer.
It's a very bitter beer. Like, I expected by the smell to get that initial punch of the sweet citrusy, followed by the bitterness of the IPA. But you really get the bitterness right off the bat.
Yeah, no, it's really nice. And the bitterness, there's a bit of pininess to it, but it's got a lot of tropical to it. You get like either orange peel or maybe a bit of lemon peel.
Now, how do some beers that are IPAs get that soft and then bitterness on the end?
It's all to do with the hopping. So hops as a plant, there's tons of different varieties. It's a bit like tomatoes, right?
And grapes, because of the soil that they grow in.
Not just terroir,
that.
stylistically too.
Terroir.
So a Syrah grape would be different than a Cabernet Sauvignon
Yeah.
grape, et cetera, et cetera. I was going to use tomatoes, which I know you're a fan of.
Big fan.
You know, you've got your brandy wine versus your Roma versus your San Marino.
Beef hearts and your, yeah.
Beefsteak, yeah.
Beef heart?
That's gross. Anyway, hops are the same way. So a lot of the West Coast hops use what are called the C hops, Centennial, Columbus. There's probably a stack more. There are also proprietary hops that actually the strain is protected by copyright. That's like Citra, or I think Amarillo is one of those. But you get a bunch of different hops. Then you get your hops from the New World.
So
from
they've
New
got
Zealand.
a copywritten plant.
That stupid law. What the heck is...
Coffee, right?
Well, that's really common. Most corn, I think, that's GMO. GMO corn's existed for like 60 years, and most of the strains are copywritten. And in fact, if you're driving, not so much where you are, but north of where you live, up in the country, you'll often be driving along, and you'll see pick seed signs, and it's got like the seed number of what the field is planted with. Those are all copyrighted strains.
And boy, have we patented it.
So the farmer's paying a license.
So hops is the same way?
Some hops, not all.
Okay.
So anyway.
So those types of hops, that Citra hops that you're mentioning, that would be the one that we're looking at right now.
These
as you dance.
That's right. I was gonna say they all get mixed together though, and so it's about hops get added to the beer during the boil, which adds bitterness and not too much aroma, or towards the end of the boil, which doesn't add much bitterness but adds quite a bit of aroma. I think it's the last 10 minutes. You'll get almost no bitterness out of the hop, but you get a lot of the floral aromas.
I love that smell. Like when you pop a beer and you get that really citrusy smell from the hops. Ugh.
Smells like victory.
It's one of my favorite smells in the world. And what's weird is when we started doing this years ago, I hated it.
Hated hops.
I hated so much, but now like that's the first thing that I look for or smell for when I'm smelling beer.
Right.
But Hop Circle IPA from Phillips Brewing.
Phillips Brewing Company, available at the beer market, also at the LCBO.
Remember, Beer Market, live music, Thursday through Saturday after 9 p.m. and the Rock and Roll Brunch on Sundays. Thank you again. This is a great call. Good
Cheers.
call on this one. Good call.